Okay, I'm showing it's 12 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. Again, if you have any questions throughout the call, you can raise your hand by just pressing number 1. Just press 1, and then Mike will be able to see that you have your hand raised and there's a question. Today's call is understanding the service advisor, and what we're going to do, first of all, is go over just some common things about the service advisor, what their function is, and the mission, some things like that. So first, the mission. And the primary focus of the service advisor is customer care. They're supposed to perform the intake inspection process, review the history, monitor the job progress, and inform the customer of all needed items in the multi-point inspection, completion of the expectations during the repair, and then obviously follow-up on that. Now, there's a lot of items that individually account for each one of those. For example, the wrong customer intake process or no customer intake process, no reviewing the history. Just that one line, we could probably spend an hour on that one line. How do you do that properly? What is the right process on the customer intake inspection? These are items that if they're not done at all or they're done poorly, will create havoc in the system. In another one, monitoring the job progress. Simple thing like that, a simple task like monitoring the job progress. If the promised time isn't used and the vehicle falls through the cracks, they're supposed to have it delivered to the customer at 2 o'clock so they come out of work and the car's there. If it's 2 o'clock, they come out and the vehicle isn't there, you've already have an issue with that client. If you don't inform the customer of the needs, you see that it creates issues again. Completion of the expectations. If the expectations aren't completed, obviously the customer is going to have major concerns. Really, the advisor position is the most critical in the facility in my view, because if it's done well, you have a customer for life. If it isn't done well, you're not only going to lose the customer in service, they won't purchase the next vehicle from the facility. Now, as important as that position is, one of the things that kind of blows me away is where when an advisor comes online, they're handed a pen, given a terminal, position in the dealership, and said, there you go, you're a service advisor. Now, with that being said, in a position that I feel is the most important in the dealership, to have little or no training, to be thrown in and say this is how we do it, and your expectation is 20 hours a day or 15 hours a day. So we have really no training, throw them into the fire, and they do have, here's your corporate training. We've got you signed up now. You can log on to the company training and see how an advisor is supposed to do it. But really, we should add additional training into that, skill-focused training. Some might have role-playing of labor operations, just as a standard process in the dealership. If you don't have a process in place where at least once a week you get together with the advisors and role play labor operations where you're talking about the feature and the benefit of that operation, that's a must-do for the dealership. The advisors need to have this developed skill level where they can respond to the clients properly at the time of sale. I, a few months ago, started asking people to sell me a labor operation, simple labor operations such as transmission flush or rotate and balance instead of a rotate, or why should I have a road force balance? that costs $80. These are items that if you don't understand the feature and benefit, how are you going to explain it to the client? Should be just a standard process in the dealership that whatever time frame you use, these operations are, during the role play, looked at as to how we can improve. I promise you, if you do that, your sales on that labor operation you're discussing will go up. And then for advisors, we have all kinds of process concerns. For example, do they know how to handle an upset customer? So if an upset customer comes to the counter, they have an issue with the dealership, what's their empowerment? What's their process to handle that upset customer? Staffing issues. Do you have too many advisors, not enough advisors? Many times I would say the most common failure here is not enough staffing. But good advisors going to be needed to be in the range of 350 repair orders on a monthly basis, and that does include internal and warranty. Also, if an advisor gets above 400, in my viewpoint, they can't take care of that customer properly. And then we have scheduling issues. The advisor needs to be working with the schedule. How many technician hours are available for tomorrow? If they can't look at a screen and tell you exactly how many tech hours are available and how many are sold by appointments, this is a major system failure in the processes, and you need to review and implement a process that understands that if you don't have it scheduled by hour, then you really have no way to keep those technicians full of work on a consistent basis. So, in my opinion, a good advisor is worth their weight in gold. They manage all the process concerns. They manage the customer, and they develop the skills they need to do all of those things efficiently and profitably for the dealership. They're also worth their weight in gold because that is where your customer retention is going to be focused. That is where the customer satisfaction is going to be. Right at the advisor level, the communication skills. This is where your performance results on your key performance indicators are all going to be revolving around. The technician hours sold. If you don't have a proper scheduling, are you going to sell the tech hours you have available? You can't store them. You can't refrigerate them and pull them out when they're needed. You have to have these balances in place. But then at the same token, we'll briefly talk about how are you meeting the needs of your advisors. First of all, what is your training for them? Is it just, hey, when you get time, get on the manufacturer's website and we've got 10 courses to take online and then you're compliant and we're done and there's no more further instruction needed? Is that what you think the best available plan would be? And two, I really believe a good advisor needs to have a good compensation plan in place that says if you meet the following criteria, that you are rewarded for that. Even a simple acknowledgement, many times, if I look at an advisor, talk to them about what they're getting done or what they're not getting done, compliment them on what they've achieved, I hear this simple statement: you're the only one that noticed my achievement. The dealer didn't discuss it. The service manager didn't discuss it. Matter of fact, they only tell me what the problems are. Are you meeting the needs of your advisor? Do they have the technology available? Are they always fighting a computer or a printer to be functional? And if they are, what is that in appearance to your client? Everybody, from the dealer principal on down through the advisor, must understand what the mission is. It has to be clear. What processes do we need to use to get there? What's acceptable performance and what is not acceptable performance? The expectations need to be precise and monitored on a daily basis. If you're not looking at the results of your service advisor, if you're on autopilot on technician hours sold, if you're on autopilot for what time the customer should show up, these simple processes are so detrimental to the performance of your entire shop and service operation, let alone parts. Imagine if it does this to the service department, what it can do to parts if it's not good, strong, process-driven results for your advisors and your entire service team. Now at this time, we'll open it up for comments and or questions. Mike, if you would, let's open up the mics and get some discussion on this.
All right, you guys can speak freely.
Does anyone want to share a process they use on customer intake?
Rob, what do you think a good method of monitoring and measuring compliance to these issues?
Well, first of all, a good eye on the individual advisor performance, I think, is a great place to start. For example, what are they writing up as an exception report? Are they putting on declined repairs? Are they adding declined service? Are they having maintenance issues? And many times technicians are a good source of information. So if you ask a technician, how's Advisor Bill doing on selling your recommendations? And again, one-line RO review. If you got a one-line RO in your shop with a vehicle that's over 60,000 miles or 80,000 miles, what are the odds of a vehicle with that kind of mileage on it without one additional need? Not very likely, is it?
No.
Good comment. Anyone else?
The conference call.
Well, if you would, wait. Ask yourself one question, and apparently we have a bashful crowd. But ask yourself one question. How do I rate on my processes? How does this dealership that you're in rate on the processes? How do you rate your advisors? And no matter where your advisors are at, no matter where your processes are at, no matter what your current results are, then challenge yourself. What do I need to do to make this better? What do I need to do to improve? And make the focus to turn your weaknesses into a strength.
Hey, Rob.
Yes.
It's Donner. I'm now between dealers right now. But the prior dealer couldn't into it.
I can hardly hear you. Go ahead. I can hardly hear you, but
He just got disconnected. Half just got disconnected.
okay. Well, if he logs back in, then we'll approach that. Any other questions?
Hey, Rob, it's Shay from Belleville Dodge calling.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Fantastic. How are you, Shay?
I finally made it. Just a process that we use in our dealership drive-through, not more of just a mention, is we, every time the customer comes in, we do a bit of a walk around, of course, and check the washer fluid, fill it up, and do some minor checks for damage. But what we do is we print off the VIP and attach it to the work order. We always check for recalls. We do what they call an APS check, which is basically the visit that it's in for based on mileage, and know all the services that are due that Chrysler wants us to do. But also we do, of course, the different non-listed services. We go over this with the customer. We also talk about it and ask the customer to partake in a peace of mind inspection every time they come in, because we only see them so often now, sometimes only twice a year. And that includes a tire rotation and I think about a 20-point inspection that the guys do with us too. And it just gives everybody a chance to take a good look at the vehicle and make sure we're checking everything all the time consistently. Something that we implemented recently too is we always ask to check the alignment, because we do it for no charge. And other than that, we always revisit those previous declined services that we missed that you talk about, Those are big, because sooner or later they're going to want to do them, so you just got to keep reminding the customer we still haven't done them. So that's kind of our process.
That is a good process. And then on the declined services, do you have a follow-up program there where you either give them an email or a letter? Yeah,
we use a system through Reynolds & Reynolds called Contact Manager. And all three of us at the desk here, the advisors and I, we try and be as consistent as possible. It's tough because it's really, you got your own busy day going on, but you want to contact these people personally. But also what we do is we discuss it on the way out and preset the appointment, much like the dentist. We've really adopted that. And what that does is it interacts with the Reynolds & Reynolds through the Contact Manager, and as we change it on that system, it changes it through Contact Manager, and it allows us to email, which gives us more time, or it allows us to follow up daily and see if we have to change the schedule. But it works pretty good. I mean, it's one of those systems where it's only as good as the people that use it, but the most important thing to our follow-up is that we always discuss revisit declined services, because we always put them on there.
One of the things I love what you said there, a peace of mind inspection. Is that what you call it? Peace of mind inspection.
That's Chrysler, yeah. Yeah, we do that every time because people have been conditioned at our dealership to expect it as not only a tire rotation every time, but also all the required elements to the visit, regardless of the mileage. And then the upsell from that is taken a little more graciously, because you're always talking about having things inspected. The tech's getting paid to do it, 0.3. Customer's paying $24.95 and feels that they're leaving their place knowing everything's been looked at for sure, because it says it has. It's pretty good.
That sounds wonderful, and I love that wording, the peace of mind inspection. Wouldn't that be nice for the customer to have?
Yeah, for sure. But that's a Chrysler thing. I don't know if it's trademarked for them, but it sure is something they've always used,
That is wonderful, and obviously Canada, you got severe maintenance items up there that sure the winters are a little severe.
Sometimes. I mean, last year was pretty much like a summer almost for us at one level, but I think this year we're going to get it. Unlike the hammering I think we're getting right now somewhere. Are you guys in that weather right now?
Yeah. We got Lake Erie's forecast 14-foot waves, Shay, today.
Whoa.
So.
Ouch. So keep an eye there and be safe.
Thank you. I appreciate those comments. Those comments. That's a wonderful.
I'm glad I finally got a chance to participate. Sorry I couldn't participate earlier, but I took 5 and just got it done. So there we are.
No problem. Any other comments or questions?
No, I don't think so. I'm just going to listen for a bit while you guys carry on.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Got a question? I see
Yes,
you're
sir.
back
Go
here
ahead.
again, Hef. Go ahead. Hef, are you there?
Yep.
You can go ahead if you'd like.
So what was the question?
I can't hear him.
No, I don't hear him now.
I think he said he was in between on the road, so I'm not sure if
Okay.
we'll pick him.
Well, we'll have to leave that one go for now. But if you want to follow up with a question, a written question, I'd be happy to respond to that personally. Any other questions or comments? Go ahead. All right, I can't hear that one either. So we'll wrap up today's call. If that's all the questions or comments, I appreciate it. And understand the closing comment that the advisors are a critical part of how you're going to retain the customer